2021 is officially Rochester's most violent year to date. Today, 3 more people were killed, bringing this year's homicide total to 71.
The latest homicide, a man shot on St. Paul Street near the RTS Transit Center earlier this afternoon. He died just hours ago. Officers responded to the area just after 1, and they found the victim, a man in his 20s, beaten and with a gunshot wound to his upper body. Police say this was not a random act. Rochester police are also investigating after a double homicide that took place overnight.
That's right. It's a violent trend that has police very concerned. Officers broke down the numbers today, and Alex Love was there. He joins us live on Chestnut Street at the scene of that double fatal shooting from overnight. Alex?
It really makes you wonder, Katrina, will this trend in shootings ever stop, and how many more lives have to be lost between the double homicide at 35 Chestnut Street and then another homicide outside the RTS stop on St. Paul? Rochester, sitting at 71 homicides so far this year, is a higher crime rate than certain major cities. It's become a common sight for many this year in Rochester to see caution tape and emergency vehicles blocking off their street, but still leads to a different family heartbroken learning their relative was murdered. Police wonder if it will ever end.
We want the community to stand up, stand beside us, and the community has to get fed up with this. And the way they can do that, or one of the ways they can do that, is continue to feed us information.
Oftentimes, local authorities point to this trend not uncommon nationwide, but now that Rochester sits at 71 homicides, our 2021 murder rates are higher than Buffalo with 60, despite having over 67,000 more people in their population. And when you measure by per capita, we're also higher in murder rates than Chicago, who sits at 25.67 killings per 100,000 people, while Rochester comes out to 33.12.
Because a lot of the reforms that went into place, nobody in law enforcement is surprised that we have a record number of homicides. And, you can just check the tapes, and we've all predicted this, a year and a half ago.
The same goes when you measure homicides per capita in New York City and Syracuse, coming out lower than Rochester. Captain Umbrino argued bail reform laws must be changed to keep violent offenders from easily returning to the streets.
We've provided a list of dozens of people who have gotten out of jail and been rearrested. For anybody to say that bail reform or any of the other reforms don't play a part, I think that's irresponsible on their part, and I'd like to know what data they have to support that.
We did speak to criminal justice educators who did say a key factor in measuring crime rate is when cities do have a difference in population, but they said per capita it is a fair statement to say Rochester now has a higher crime rate than certain major cities, especially this time of the year when we still have another 7 weeks left in 2021. Live in Rochester, Alex Love, News 8.
Alex, thank you. This has been a particularly violent week in Rochester. 5 teens were injured in 2 separate shootings on Tuesday night. Now, local community activists and other leaders are looking for solutions. Erica Cost joins us from the newsroom with more on this. Erica.
Recent events are sparking conversations and even workshops on how to de-escalate. The workshop I attended today, hosted by community activists, was actually just around the corner from the murder investigation outside Regional Transit Service today. This is exactly the kind of behavior many are calling to stop. Just around the corner from crime scene tape, a task force is working to put an end to this violence. Activists gathered this afternoon to discuss de-escalation techniques and how to reach troubled youth.
When we came out of this pandemic, I think we found young people more hurt, more traumatized, and more damaged than they've been.
Part of the discussion today included how to be a father or mother figure for those without one.
The lack of fathers in the household, the family structure is very important.
The same topic was touched on 24 hours ago by RPD Captain Frank Umbrino, addressing media over recent violence, saying we have to pinpoint where a child learns certain type of behavior is acceptable. James Van Bretterode, chief of police chiefs in Monroe County, says he's all for long-term solutions, but his priority right now is just getting through the day without loss of life.
How are we going to get through the next 48 hours here in our community to make sure there's not a murder? How are we going to get through the next 72 hours?
Data from Rochester Police shows while homicide numbers are up, larcenies and burglaries are down. Van Beretta Road believes less people report nonviolent crimes these days because there are simply less consequences. He and other members of law enforcement have been criticizing bail reform for months, especially when it relates to known violent offenders out on the street.
We get the mindset of not incarcerating people, but then you got to give the criminal justice system some sort of resources, that alternatives to incarceration. You know, the halfway houses, the boarding homes that we had for kids.
And Van Beretta Road says in the past year there's been a lot of tension everywhere, not just among teens, but among policymakers, police officers, Democrats and Republicans. He says working to find a solution will have to involve a community and a society coming together somehow. In the newsroom, Erica Cost, News 8.
Erica, thank you. We will continue to follow these developing stories over on social media and on RochesterFirst.com.